Hi, my name is Alejandro Estrada, and this presentation is about the University of Alabama's strategic planning for the year 2023 to 2024, specifically their athletic department. But before we get started, first things first, the university is located in Tuscaloosa, and it was established in 1820. Their athletic team is known as the Alabama Crimson Tide, and the name originated from a game against Auburn in 1907. Auburn is one of the rival schools in athletics, and that year Auburn was highly favored to win, but Alabama forced a tie at the end. And a sports writer wrote about the game and described the offensive line as the Crimson Tide in reference to their jerseys, which were stained red from the wet dirt. But their athletic department is known for their success in football, which they've won 30 SEC titles and 18 national titles. They are also known for their recent success in basketball under head coach Nate Oakes. He helped receive their first SEC title since 1991 in his second year there, and has had multiple wins during the NCAA tournament. Going back to their athletic department as a whole, they have multiple men and women varsity teams such as baseball, golf, cross country, swimming, and tennis.
Hi, my name is Hannah Skaggs, and the first slide that I'm going to be presenting is mission statement and core values for the University of Alabama Athletics. The mission statement for the University of Alabama states, "The University of Alabama Athletics has a commitment to the total support and excellence of educational, athletic, and personal development of student athletes to achieve their highest potential. Guided by success both on and off the field, we cultivate a culture of sportsmanship, leadership, and community engagement that embody the values of the Crimson Tide. The core values of the University of Alabama Athletics are excellence, success, and personal development."
The next slide brings up the organizational chart. The university is organized hierarchically, which each section helps streamline decision-making and facilitates communication across departments. At the top of the chart, you have the University of Alabama System Board of Trustees and the Chancellor, who provides strategic direction and leadership. With the Chancellor, it was Finis. When talking about the Chancellor, it was St. John up until earlier this month. He stepped down, and currently they have an interim Chancellor who is Sid J. Tront. Moving on, below them is the President, which is Stuart R. Bell, and then below him is the Athletic Director, Greg Byron. So when it comes to continuing on with the organizational chart, for this slide, we narrowed it down just specifically for the athletic department. So with the first one, it is the Chief Operating Officer is Shane Lyons.
The first part of the university athletics SWOT analysis that we're going to do is the strengths. So there are 5 strengths that we found for Alabama. The first of these strengths is their legacy and tradition. The University of Alabama has a long-standing legacy of excellence in athletics, specifically in football. Their legacy has well-known traditions associated with it that also attract top-tier athletes and coaches. Second of all, they have a really strong fan base. The university has a very large and dedicated fan base that extends beyond their students and their alumni. Because of this, it translates to a large attendance, ticket sales, and merchandise sales. They also have financial resources. So in 2021 to 2022, Alabama Athletics reported total operating revenues of $214.37 million, which allowed them to benefit from significant financial resources. Because of this, they can have state-of-the-art facilities, which moves us into our next strength. The University of Alabama provides their athletes with well-equipped facilities and top-notch training and game day facilities. Finally, the last strength is the exceptional football program. So Alabama football has 18 recognized national championships, which causes this program to be consistently competitive, bringing in a lot of attention and revenue from both ticket sales and media sales. The next part of the SWOT analysis is the weaknesses. There are also 5 weaknesses to correspond with the 5 strengths. So the first weakness is the loss of Nick Saban. So with the loss of the face of the football program, the university is having to rebuild the foundation of their strongest program in athletics. Second of all, kind of piggybacking on that is the dependence on football. While the success of their football program is considered a strength, the dependence of the football program for revenue may leave other programs underfunded or overlooked. Nextly is the competitive landscape. Alabama is a part of the SEC, and being a part of the SEC conference results in competitive schedules, competition in recruiting, and ensuring maintenance and the consistent fan base. Continuing with that is the high expectations. Because of the high success in the past, specifically in football, the program must ensure that they maintain this level of expectation that has been set by their fans, and also those in athletics. This can result in an intense pressure from higher positions and fans, resulting in stress for not only the coaches, but also the players. Finally is the compliance concerns. Like most major athletic programs, the University of Alabama must always ensure that they are following all rules and compliance so that nothing happens between them and the NCAA.
So this next slide is the third part of the SWOT analysis, which is opportunities. The university does have a lot of opportunities in today's society, but we narrowed it down to 5 specific ones. The first one is support online learners by offering more digital learning objectives and allow more resources through Blackboard and web conferencing. So in today's society, electronics is really important, and so a lot of the people use internet. And so the university decided to take advantage of that and distribute their education outside of the University of Alabama. That way, students who want to go to the university can't travel all the way to the state of Alabama, so they offer online classes for those outside of the state and some who are who don't want to go on campus who live in Alabama. But this way, it projects their education far more than having only in-person classes. And so the next one is keep improving web searches, discovering usability. This is a great way to help spread their all their learning activities, such as the library. They provide a lot of resources online through websites as long as you are a student. The next one is renovate and remodel buildings throughout the university. It's been known that universities strive and make more money if all the buildings are renovated or new. It's going to attract more people, more students to come in, and just overall look good for those who are visiting, who are wanting to be students, who are wanting to work there, who are even wanting to play there. So if your facilities look good, it's going to attract top tier athletes to come play for the university. The next one is forming alliances through the local community to give students more opportunities for internships and eventually careers. So this is a good way to reach out to the local community and help them. So when students come in and get an education, they are given opportunities outside the university in the local community to not only get experience, but also get the desire to want to stay there and work there and help contribute to that local society they've known for 4 years, 4 or 6 years, depending on how long their education is. So a lot of the people, students are going to want to stay there and help contribute to society. So offering opportunities in the local community will help improve that. The next one is the new football coach could be the start of a new dynasty. Yes, the past coach is retired, so Nick Saban is one of the greatest. He's a legend. He is going to be remembered forever, but that him being there doesn't make Alabama Alabama. Alabama football is known for their program specifically, not the coaches that have won and been successful throughout the years. So this is a good start. Having a new coach can help build a new dynasty and hopefully keep the tradition of Alabama football being one of the top tier programs in college. So the next slide is the fourth part of the SWOT analysis, which are threats. The first one is decreased funding and decline in enrollment each year. So this is a huge threat for every university, mainly because there's so many universities to choose from. It's really hard to figure out which one you want to go to, narrowing it down to one choice. So once students pick where they want to go, it's going to hurt the funding for the surrounding universities or other universities that they were wanting to attend because they picked the one, and it might not be Alabama. I understand Alabama is really popular, but with education, you have to figure, as a student, you have to figure out which one will be right for you. And just because you want to be a part of the football dynasty, if you want to be a part of the basketball at Alabama, it might not be enough to sway a student into wanting to enroll there. The next one is intense competition with students looking at universities to continue their education. So I said this briefly a little bit previously with the first one. Like I said, this is a huge threat for every university. If another school looks better, has a better program, has a better athletic program, it's going to sway them to go towards that direction versus going to Alabama. So there's so many options to choose from. It's really hard to narrow it down. At the end of the day, you have to figure out which school is best suited for you and what you want to do, what you want to study, what route you want to go through, and maybe you think about the city that the university is in and see if you can fit in there with society. So with the third one is negative publicity can hurt the university's reputation. So with this one, it's really hard to control students. I mean, a university can't control students and what they do outside of their classes, outside of their programs. So it's really hard to maintain that, and which can have students do something they're not supposed to and get in trouble with the law outside of the university, do something that gets them sent to jail. Same thing with mainly athletes. So if athletes do something off the field, off the court, it can really damage a university's reputation. There's been multiple times where football players from other universities do something illegal to the point where they get arrested, they get in trouble, which can lead back to the university and give negative publicity and a negative reputation to the university themselves. And so for the last one is with Nick Saban leaving, what's going to happen with their program, their football program? Is it going to decline? This can be a huge threat because Alabama is known for football. That's like the number one thing outside of education that they are most known for. They've won so many championships, so many SEC titles. When you think about Alabama, the University of Alabama, you think about football. So with Nick Saban leaving, is this going to damage their dynasty? Is this going to hurt their name, their program in the sports world? That's going to be a huge threat because right now we don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully with this new coach, they are able to keep the legacy of the University of Alabama football program going and not have it plummet to the ground. So if the football program declines, it can damage the university, and the enrollment rates will go down, the finances will go down, less athletes, less top tier athletes are going to want to go there just because they're noticing the decline in their program. So hopefully, as I said earlier, their program continues to be successful and be a great university for football, college football.
Moving on, we have our strategic objectives. The first objective is to develop elite student athletes both on and off the field by working collaboratively with academic coordinators on campus to have an overall student athlete GPA above 3.0 annually. And a condition for this is that any athlete that achieves a 3.0 or higher can get recognized for their achievement through both the university and then potentially the NCAA. The second objective is to win championships across all sports by implementing a competitive drive with hopes for competition and championships at conference and national level. And the goal is in 5 years to have a championship at some level in all sports. And then an incentive for this is the funding for each team will increase once their team wins a national championship. The third objective is to reinvest in success We'll do this by continuing to develop and enhance financial resources, with the main goal being the development and launch of a comprehensive funding initiative. Our goal is to increase funding for each team by $5,000 in 2 years' time. And we can do this by adding more sponsors that will increase our recognition to the teams as well, especially outside of the top 4 teams, including things like golf, gymnastics, volleyball, track and field, etc. Finally, our last objective is to do the right thing and to maintain integrity by engaging in educational efforts to ensure that staff and athletes understand all rules. The main goal would be to maximize productivity through the buildup of HR. To do this, the condition that they must meet is that staff and athletes must participate in an annual training and pass an exam at the end. Moving on, we have our strategic mapping. So these are kind of color coordinated. The bottom one is education, and all of the things that have to do with education are in blue. So our plan is to provide more learning opportunities, which enhances the knowledge of athletes and increases engagement and accountability. This in turn leads to the next plan, which would be integrity. Integrity would allow us to educate on ethical and legal standards, thus increasing compliance and promoting a spirit of cooperation and support. This leads to the next goal of success. Promoting the spirit of cooperation will allow us to promote innovation and create a winning organization. When we create a winning organization, we increase our fan base and our success rates. Increasing our fan base and success rates leads to the last kind of tier we have, which is our financial goals. When you increase this fan base, you increase revenue from both your ticket sales and also from your merchandise sales and things like that. And finally, the last way to enhance this revenue in this financial category is to prioritize your funding.
So the next slide talks about the initiatives chart, which corresponds to the previous slide when talking about the strategic mapping. So when it comes to initiatives chart, it's still spread into 4 different sections, which are financial, successful, integrity, and education. So when it comes to talking about this chart, with financial, the target and goal is to increase revenue based on fundraising conducted throughout the year. When fundraising is successful for that year, each sport will receive an additional $5,000 per year if the goal is met. When it comes to initiatives, we can talk about the Advancing the Flagship, which is a new updated strategic plan. The university started that and is helping with fundraising. You can also set up a budget each year so we can know how much exactly we're allowed to spend, how much money was made previously, and how much money can we contribute for this upcoming year. The next part of the initiatives in financial is to allocate resources strategically. So for this one, we need to know what needs to go where. Obviously, football and basketball are the top tier sports in the university, so the majority of our resources will go towards those 2 programs, but we also need to think about the other programs that help contribute with the athletic department. So the last one is to maximize the use of athletic facilities. So we need to take advantage of all the high-tech, state-of-the-art equipment in these facilities for not only the programs in the athletic department, but also for students who are enrolled in the university. We also want them to be a part of the facility. By doing that, we can offer programs for students who are non-athletes to come in and participate in these facilities. So the next part of the initiatives chart is success. So what the target and goals for this one is, the university would want a championship in all sports in 5 years. This is an obtainable goal. The university is successful with football and basketball, so there's a higher chance that they will get a championship within the next 5 years, but we also want to focus on the other sports and make sure they are being successful in their respective sport. And so when teams win championships, the funding for their team will increase to keep that success moving on. So with the initiatives for success, they want to have the proper staff to help athletes reach their full potential. Make sure staff understand the standards that the university wants to uphold. Have proper training protocols set in place. Offer staff resources to better understand the standards and provide mental health resources. So for mental health resources, a great example is have an app for student athletes to do a daily check-in to make sure they are okay, they have everything that they need, and if something is wrong, they can come talk to somebody in the athletic department to help them with their issue. The next part is integrity, and the target and goal for this one is 100% of staff completing compliance training and passing exams to make sure they are aware of what the expectations are for the university to hold the integrity, and also keep certifications up to date for all staff and athletes. This is a good one because you want to make sure everyone's up to date with what's going on around the university, all the protocols, all the rules and regulations that you need to know to make sure you are on track and not there be an issue to the point where athletes are not allowed to play. So with initiatives, the university can offer more media training for staff and athletes, promote ethical leadership and support services, and maintain transparency with those outside the university. With this one, the university wants to be up to date with what's going on, and if there is something going on, the public relation department can step up and talk to the people outside of the university to make sure they know that we know what's going on, and we're trying to figure out what we need to do to fix whatever happens. And so for the last section of this chart is education, and the target and goal for this one is to increase amount of student athletes receiving 3.0 GPAs or higher by 15%. And the initiative for this one is to offer learning assistant programs, time management workshops, monitor academic progress, add to educational resources for athletes on the road, offer incentives for athletes who receive a 3.0 GPA or higher, and with these incentives, it can be a banquet to offer rewards and recognize the athletes, and also offer more scholarships for those who are succeeding in their education.
Next, we're going to talk about our 4-year sales and growth plan. So the first slide that we have here on that is the line item budget and also some expenses and revenue. So we have the years 2022 and 2023. We left out the years 2020 and 2021 from the past 4 years because that was COVID and the numbers were not really working. So we looked at ticket sales, sponsorship, media rights, and other revenue to get the total revenue. And then we looked at compensation/salaries, facilities and equipment, student aid, travel, and other expenses to get the total expenses. And so that's what you see on this Excel sheet here. And these numbers are what we ran through a program to create the Excel files and graphs for our 4-year prediction, which is what you see on this next slide here. So the chart on the left shows the revenue. And so currently it's at $199.9 million. And the revenue is expected over these 4 years to increase to $228.8 million if it continues with the trend from between 2022 and 2023. Next, on the left, you can see the expenses, which are also expected to increase between those 2 years. Currently, they're at $195.9 million, and they're expected to increase to $228.19 million in the next 4 years.
So this last slide talks about the University of Alabama's mantras. In this specific slide, there are 3 that I wanted to talk about. These are the 3 most important ones in my opinion. But with the first one is with the mascot, the elephant. So the story of how Alabama became associated with the elephant goes back to the 1930 season when Coach Wallace was with the university. It happened during the Alabama-Mississippi game that year when a sports writer named Everett Strupper mentioned in their article about a fan yelling out, quote, "Hold your horses, the elephants are coming," unquote. They were talking about the football players on the field as they scored a touchdown. After that, the sports writers sports writers continue to refer to the Alabama linemen as the Red Elephants. And so the next mantra is a term, roll, tide, roll. No one really knows how this phrase started. It was pretty much founded through the grapevine. No one knows how it started, but people liked it and started repeating it throughout the years. Now it is one of the most popular phrases of all college football. So the last mantra I want to talk about is on the t-shirts in the slide, Link. So under Coach Nick Saban, Alabama had created a motto called Link. The Crimson Tide's new team mantra stands for Let All Naysayers Know, which is a way to motivate the players. This was created with the help by QB Jalen Milroe and Terrion Arnold, who were talking about how everyone outside the program was disrespecting and doubting them. This became popular to the point where the two players used the slogan for NIL deals. And during the whole process, they made sure to let all Alabama teammates know that they could also take advantage of the money being made with that slogan.